If you want to know when our next video is coming out, obviously you have to subscribe. And to be notified, you have to hit the little bell notification. All right, guys, here we go. It's all about marketing, and by that I mean online automated marketing through a piece of software called Mautic. I think Mautic's terrific. Mautic is the future of internet marketing, but I uninstalled it on my website, and I'm going to tell you why. Let's go to work. I suppose the best place to start is with a quick overview of how marketing works online today. Usually it's all about email. Email is near the bottom of our sales funnel, and we've got a video on that. And typically it's something like this. Let's say you own a hotel in a small tourism town, and a guy named Bob comes to your website. Bob is interested in signing up for your newsletter because he's been to the page that talks all about the big family suites. Now, the family suite has 3 bedrooms and it's $500 a night. You would really like Bob for a customer. The following week, however, you send out an email that's all about the rooms over by the pool. This is not relevant to Bob. Bob deletes the email. And the weekend after that, you've got a special that includes a free continental breakfast, a hot breakfast. Once again, that's not what Bob signed up for. So surprise, surprise, Bob doesn't open any more of your emails. Now let's compare that with automated marketing. Bob goes to your website, and once again, he visits the exact same page, but this time the software knows what page he visits. And then Bob signs up for the newsletter. The software will send Bob an email specifically about the suite that Bob was looking at. Now, Bob's very interested in this. Obviously, he's going to open that email. The software, a few days later, whatever you decide, is going to send Bob another email. And this time Bob doesn't open it. The software knows that, and it will wait, whatever you decide, we'll say 24 hours, and send Bob a second email. But this one is an actual letter from you, and it's got Bob's name in it. It's personalized. Hey, Bob, did you know that we're going to have a special on our presidential suites? I thought I'd let you know. Now, you have to be careful here, because if you get too personal, it really kind of freaks Bob out. So you're just going to mention a couple things. You're not going to talk about where he visited your Facebook page or what town he lives in. But you will mention that you're going to have this special, and it's coming up in the next newsletter. You can guarantee Bob's going to open that. So the idea is you've got customer engagement and customized emails. By the way, it doesn't have to be an email. It can be an SMS message going to his phone. It can be one of those browser notifications that slides in from the side or the bottom, depending on your OS. Or it can send it to you on a tweet. Now, if Bob says anything on Twitter, the software knows it. It gives the software another excuse to send a letter from you personalized to him, thanking him for the tweet or the mention on Facebook or whatever it happens to be. Now, the software, once again, is called Mautic, mautic.org. There are 4 things you need to know to install this software. One is how to do DNS records. And I mention that first because if you mess this up, you broke your website. You need to know how to do text records and MX records, which is the email. You're also going to need to know how to set up a MySQL database. Not terribly difficult, and it's getting easier every year. SMTP is where your software talks to the email company, and it's not Aweber or one of the easy ones. This may be the most complex of the 4 steps. And finally, something called cron jobs, which allows your server to automatically do all of these things that Mautic is trying to tell it to do. So basically, Mautic is terrific. It is customized marketing, and it's done the way the customer wants it to. Now, Mautic has these campaigns, which may consist of 5 or 6 different emails, and it will switch the customer from one campaign to the next based on what actions the customer has taken, or based on how many points the customer has. Now, what's that? The points are assigned to the customer every time that customer takes an action. He opens one of your emails, he goes back to your website, he reads the About Us page, an interesting video about customer buying behavior. And so over time, we'll accrue a certain number of points. At that point, we're going to move Bob onto a new campaign. This time, we're not talking about the room anymore. The education part is over. We're talking about Bob getting down here. When does he want to come? You're going to have a special if he'll come on these dates. We're doing things to encourage Bob to pick up the phone and call. So that's Mautic. Mautic is awesome. I honestly believe Mautic is the future, and I uninstalled it from my website, like I mentioned in the open. Why? Well, Mautic is big, expansive software, as you would guess. It's installed on everything, everywhere, and it tracks lots of customers. All of that's fine, but it has to be ready for prime time. You have to remember, I'm going to help you set up Mautic, at least that's my job, and in order to do that, the software has to function, because if I tell you, look, in 2 weeks this is going to be ready for you, and you come back and it's not, you're not going to be happy, and you're not going to be happy with me specifically. So Mautic needs to churn a little bit more. It needs to mature. It needs to stew some more. The company is only about 2 years old. And when I installed it, I would push the button for the form that you would put on your website to sign up for whatever, and it would say, please wait. So I go back to their forums and I read all about it, and there's about 10 different things I can do. I did them all over the course of a couple of days, and it still didn't work, which told me that I really can't come to you and talk about it like I'm going to sell it to you, because it ain't going to work. There are 2 situations where I would really recommend you give Mautic a try. One is if you have a full marketing department. Now, as part of this department, you have a guy who can write PHP. He's an honest-to-God code writer. He can look at the code and tell you what's wrong and correct it. That's great. Go ahead and get Mautic. The other place would be is if you have a little bit of money and you're willing to invest it in your website, and hopefully you are, then Mautic is a terrific choice, because you can essentially give Mautic your website. They install it on their servers. They take care of everything. Their people, of course, are very familiar with the software. They have coders on staff. If there's a problem, they take care of it. And that's really what they're set up for, but of course that's going to cost you money. However, I still believe in this software. It is awesome, and I'm going to check back with this company about every 6 months or so and see if they get all the little kinks ironed out. And if they do, I'm certainly going to install it, and I'm going to come back here and tell you all about it. Guys, that's going to do it for this time. Once again, thank you very much, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.